Okay, this is my week 19 update, race to 250K. Every single Monday, I invest $1,100. Investing is about buying when you're uncomfortable, when the news is bad and your portfolio is going down. Most people only buy when it feels safe. Safety does not build wealth, consistency does. In this video, I'm going to go over my complete portfolio, what I bought with that 1100, my weekly performance, and of course my dividend income. Quick reminder on financial education. Education gives you control, control gives you options, options is what gives you that freedom. Let's get into my portfolio and see where I'm at. Okay, now that we're in the portfolio, we can see the balance is $156,629. SCHD had a monster week this week. All right, let's go over each position. First, I have DGRO. I have 373 shares with a market value of $27,617, which is 17.6% of my portfolio. Next, we have SCHD. I have 1,956 shares with a market value of $62,319, and that's 39.9% of my portfolio. Then we have SCHG. I have 510 shares with a market value of $16,990, and that is 10.9% of my portfolio. Next, we have SCHX. I have 877 shares with a market value of $25,038, which is nearly 16% of my portfolio. My last position is international, is VXUS. I have 295 shares with a market value of $24,661, which is 15.7% of my portfolio. The goal is to get my core positions, my dividend growth funds, SCHD up to 45% and DGRO to 20%. So those will be my core positions, and my satellite positions will be 10% SCHG, 15% SCHX, and 15% VXUS. That's the goal over the next 1 to 2 months. All right, let's go over my weekly buys for the week. Okay, for my weekly buys, I bought 16 shares of SCHD, which totaled $498. Then I bought 3 shares of DGRO, which was $217. Then I bought 9 shares of SCHX, which was $253. Then 4 shares of SCHG, and that total was $131, which over the next coming weeks, I'm going to be a little heavy into SCHD and DGRO just to get those percentages up to 45% for SCHD and then 20% for DGRO. All right, let's go into the portfolio performance for the week. Okay, in the performance section, we can see from April 27th to April 30th, excluding net contributions, my total gain was $2,337 or 1.5%. Let's see how I did against the indices this week. So I'm up 1.52%. The Russell 2000 is up 47 basis points. The S&P 500 is up 62 basis points. The NASDAQ 23 basis points. And the Dow Jones up 86 basis points. So we can see on the chart right here, I beat all the indices this week, which isn't normal since tech is, on has such momentum. My portfolio usually lags the indices, but I'll take a win for the week when it comes. All right, let's get into the dividend income. Okay, now that we're in the dividend section, we can see my total is $3,630 or $302 per month. Let's get into each position to see what it pays. So we have DGRO, they're paying $553. Next, we have SCHD, they're paying $2,056. Then we have SCHG is $65. Then we have SCHX at $267, and VXUS is at $689 to give you that total of $3,630. The goal is to get that to at least $6,000 by the end of this year. All right, that's going to do it for week 19. Stay tuned for week 20 to see if we get any closer. And remember, stay disciplined and consistent.